You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Don't you know?
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Bitcoin has officially hit $50,000. Can you believe it? It hit 50,000 twice. Actually, on Bybit, we got above to about 50,200, and then we wicked up again to 50,825. We are currently sitting below it at the time of making this video. However, having a look at this, we continue to put in higher highs and higher lows, and I have an opinion that when we break through the next time, we are probably going to slice through it like butter and potentially skyrocket to insane levels. Now, keep in mind, it could be an ascending wedge. We could fall down to some of these lower levels. That is a possibility. We were talking about a potential one more fake out before having the blast off above 50K. I will talk about that, but regardless of what happens in the next 24 or 48 hours, we have massive institutional FOMO. It's getting out of hand, guys. There is a liquidity crisis at hand, and what does this mean for Bitcoin? Well, it does mean that the price could actually continue to shoot higher and higher, although we do need to now look at the dominance and compare it to the altcoins. Could altcoins actually have a bit of a cool-off period? Well, we're going to talk about that. I also want to talk about the fact that the Federal Reserve has actually acknowledged Bitcoin as an actual competitor to gold. There's also a potential of a US ETF approval, and finally, I have huge Polkadot news as well as some altcoin news at the end of this video. So if all of that sounds good to you today, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, definitely get subscribed. We are absolutely smashing it out here, and without further ado, let's dive into the charts. Now, you can see right here over on Coinbase, we have just continued, and you don't need to be a genius to see that we are having an ascending trend. I mean, look at this. This is just going straight up, putting in higher highs and higher lows, and you can see down here sort of the last time that we were putting in those higher highs and those higher lows, we eventually just got to a point where Bitcoin just broke out above the previous high and we had a massive blast off move. Now, having a look right here, we had an amazing retest at the CME futures. Now, the CME futures was closed yesterday. It was a holiday. Have a look at this bounce right here. We actually didn't even get down to the previous wick of this pump on February 8th, the biggest candle that we had ever seen in Bitcoin's history, and boom, look at that. Weekly candle, that is. So having a look right now at Bitcoin, yes, there is a lot of support at the VPVR right around the $47,000 level. Some may argue that this is an ascending wedge. They could say that maybe it looks like we're going to fall to the downside. However, it kind of also looks somewhat like an ascending triangle with an ascending top, which I guess technically is an ascending wedge pattern, but this time, guys, we have seen over and over and over again that no matter how many different ways you look at these patterns, we've seen bearish patterns all throughout this bull run, and Bitcoin continues to break to the upside. So, like I said, $50,000, we're coming for you. We're looking for that daily close, and also having a look at the bounce. I showed you guys on the whale maps that there was strong demand for Bitcoin that formed between 46.5 and 48.5 thousand, right? And if we actually have a look at the 46.5 level right here, that is exactly where we put in our bounce. Look at that. That was an excellent opportunity to put in a long for Bitcoin as well as Ethereum on the Ethereum chart as well. I showed you guys how that was such a good area to accumulate. And the other thing that we need to talk about is the Bitcoin liquidity crisis or supply crisis, whatever you want to call it. Having a look at this Bitcoin price rising, supply is absolutely plummeting on these exchanges. Take, for example, Coinbase. Even as the price is going up, we are seeing huge accumulations from whales moving the Bitcoin into cold storage, creating that supply shock, whatever you want to call it, and Guess what? Just today, we get MicroStrategy announcing that they are having a private offering of $600 million of convertible senior notes. So are these guys geniuses or are they just crazy at this point? So in their press release, it says that they plan to offer another $600 million in convertible bonds. The notes will be unsecured senior obligations of MicroStrategy and will bear interest payable semi-annually. The initial purchasers will also be given an opportunity to get $90 million more worth of MicroStrategy convertible notes. But wait, there's more. The company plans to use this new debt offering to significantly increase its Bitcoin reserves. MicroStrategy currently holds 71,000 Bitcoin, about 3.5 billion at press time. And actually, having a look at what David Greeter said over at Fundstrat, so they actually raised their 2021 outlook from $40,000 now to $100,000 for Bitcoin by the end of this year. Well, I guess you kind of have to raise it since we're already past 40K, headed to 50K. And they say that the corporate purchases of Bitcoin, like Tesla, etc., is one of the 20 reasons that they are bullish on Bitcoin right now. Now, just to keep everyone grounded, like Justin Bennett says, institutional demand for cryptos plus mass adoption in 2021 will likely lead to outsized valuations over previous cycles, but there will be another bear market at the end of the year, in my opinion. New institutional demand, same human psychology. Now, lots of us have been calling for that cycle top at the end of this year, but one person who thinks that we're just going to go on a super cycle is Dan Held. Now, he's the growth lead at crypto exchange Kraken, and he's saying why we could go into a Bitcoin super cycle that could take us straight to $1 million over the course of the next half decade. He says, when I look at these cycles, what I'm excited about is this upcoming one. If you look at 2013 bull run, 2017 bull run, it was based on retail-driven speculation. And I just want to paraphrase what I've been saying on this channel. Why it's different this time is the last two times we had, especially in 2017, we had retail traders, just average everyday people speculating on the Bitcoin price. And what was the goal? The goal was to sell Bitcoin at the highest price to get the most amount of dollars. This time, the game has changed. You're seeing inflation, helicopter money, right? You're seeing the fact that people and these high net worth individuals, they're looking for a hedge against the failing and collapsing fiat currencies. So 2021, it is not the objective to sell at the highest point for the most amount of dollars. It's to try to buy as much Bitcoin as you can cheap to hold onto it, right? And he talks about this. He talks about the pandemic and, looking at this 21 million fixed supply of Bitcoin versus endless fiat printing. Also, just to mention, we did not have the pipelines, right? In 2013 and 2017, we didn't have any really access for these people to get into cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, but now we have PayPal, Robinhood, Cash App, Visa, MasterCard, Venmo. They're all rolling out crypto solutions, right? So this is why this time it is quite different. And man, have the times changed. Now, we have Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis President James Bullard recognizing Bitcoin as a rival to gold. Now, he does say that it's not going to compete with the US dollar in the sense that you don't want to go to a non-uniform currency when you walk into Starbucks. Maybe you'll pay with Ethereum. Maybe you'll pay with XRP. Maybe you'll pay with Bitcoin. Maybe you'll pay with the dollar. He says that isn't how we want to do this, but he says I'd recognize Bitcoin is a rival to gold, and that's a good way to think about it. So Federal Reserve now comparing Bitcoin to gold. My goodness, how the narrative has changed over the past few years. And yes, we got our ETF in Canada. We have not gotten it in the US just yet, but we do have Stone Ridge's NYDIG filing for a Bitcoin ETF with the SEC. Their objective is to reflect the performance of the price of Bitcoin less the expense of the trust's operations. They will not seek to reflect the performance of any benchmark or index, but in seeking to achieve their objective, they will, in fact, hold Bitcoin. So I wonder how this is going to affect everything. We're seeing Bitcoin essentially drying up on exchanges. We're seeing demand going through the roof. We're seeing the hodlers putting it into cold storage. Okay, you can argue there's W Bitcoin or whatever, wrapped Bitcoin. We have derivatives of Bitcoin, but we've had derivatives of gold for quite some time as well. And at the end of the day, nothing really beats just owning the actual underlying asset, right? Scrolling down here, interestingly enough, get this, the initial authorized participant is Morgan Stanley and Company, LLC. Also, here's the kicker. The decision will most likely be taken by the new incoming chair, Gary Gensler, who we know has been a lot more lenient towards cryptocurrencies, or they're saying effectively Biden himself. Now, I don't know what Grandpa Joe's official opinion of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is, but I do know that Gary Gensler is very interested and willing to be supportive of the idea. Now, there is one thing that we need to talk about, and that is the question of, has the Bitcoin dominance bottomed? You can see right here, we had a beautiful reversal at some of this key, we had resistance turn support back here at around 57%, and we had this downtrend where it bounced once, twice, and finally came to the upside. We did come back down again, but the question is, have we actually broken out of this channel? Finally, you can see right here, Bitcoin's been basically trading, with the exception of the breakout that we had, in this channel with the percentage of the dominance falling down. If Bitcoin does rally and a lot of people hop out of altcoins into Bitcoin and we see this Bitcoin pretty much break around the 67% level, you could see some of these altcoins start to take a hit. Now, they might not take a hit dollar, okay? We might still continue to see these other altcoins rising in their dollar value, but they might be falling in their Bitcoin value, right? Just like Ethereum has actually been falling in its Bitcoin value, even though it's actually been rallying. Now, talking about Ethereum as well, Ethereum is in a very interesting position. We are getting very, very close to the end of this level where we had that resistance at 1847. We also have support at 1735. We bounced around this multiple times, but zooming in right here, you guys can see we are at the end of this triangle. There is literally no more room, maybe one more day, 24 hours for Ethereum to bounce around in here, and then that's it. Ethereum needs to decide what it's doing. So it's either breaking out to the upside, and I have a target of about 1962, or we're breaking to the downside at a target of 1568. And I know it could go either way, right? I get the joke, TA, but seriously, I think a lot of this has to do with what Bitcoin does. I think if Bitcoin starts to rally, I think it's going to drag at least dollar value a lot of the other cryptos up. So based on dollars, yes, I would expect Ethereum to follow Bitcoin and rally upwards and most likely hit its target of around $2,000. Now, let's talk about Polkadot, one of my favorite projects, which has actually surpassed Cardano again, but not by much. I mean, these guys are duking it out at the $27 billion level. I mean, literally, they just keep flipping back and forth, Cardano, Polkadot. So talking about Polkadot, massive news today. They are doing their parachain rollout. They did an update today on their on what they're looking with their network. So we do have Rocco in the current stage. They talk about Kusama rollouts and slot auctions, Polkadot rollout and slot auctions as well. So once again, huge news for Polkadot, huge for Kusama as well, which not to mention, guys, well, we'll get to this in a second, but I told you guys how massive Kusama was going to be. I put this in my top 10 altcoins for 100x gains possible. Everyone thought this was clickbait. Well, $5.34, and today we're sitting at $200, so we've made almost the 40x, right? So all it would really have to do was go to $400, and there's your 100, or it would have to go to actually $500. Okay, that would be 100x, but you guys don't think Kusama could do it? I wasn't kidding when I said this coin could 100x. But anyway, getting back to Polkadot, so you have Alex Melikov. He's the CEO of Polkadot's parachain candidate Equilibrium, and he said that the project is extremely optimistic about the timeline of the Polkadot parachain launch. And he was quoted saying, "Given the 1 month interval until Polkadot deployment, then declared by Gavin, we will expectedly see DOT auctions launching quite soon. It's nice to see things rolling out as they should be. I'm a fan of Ethereum, but I'm not a fan of these high gas fees. So I hope they figure it out soon. But if not, Polkadot is inching up as a potential competitor. So, talking about like where can you get these other 100x type gains? I mean, Kusama was a little bit of a very special project. It was directly related to Polkadot as its canary network, but Downmaker has been going absolutely off the wall. Now, why? What is Downmaker doing? Well, these guys are essentially changing the game for investments. What they're doing is very fair rollouts, very low raises, and you can basically just see their whole motto is venture capital recreated for the masses. And these guys have been slamming it, smashing the ball out of the field. You can see right here, Viet was the one that I told you guys about. They had this the other day. This is doing quite well, up 16%. Anyone that got in on that sale, congratulations, guys. I'm still extremely bullish on it. They're saying that they offer a new intelligent channel for service distribution. You can check this out if you want. They actually have a really amazing video you can play right here where it shows you how it's going to work on the app. I'm not going to play it right now. It's like 2 minutes long. But yeah, you can see it's powered by IBM Watson, and they have a pretty amazing team, guys. A lot of these guys have a lot of experience. Specifically, like, I'm not going to go into all this today, but have a look into Viet. Not trying to shill it, but anyway, my point I was really trying to make is that Downmaker is now having another strong holder offering. So this is why you're actually seeing the price increase so much, is because you have opportunities to get into the lottery by holding DAO as well. And just to point out, the one that they have coming out today, Send Finance, you also, if you're holding Aave or you're holding Comp, you'll also have a benefit of getting involved into this as well. So yeah, if you're holding DAO, you'll have even bigger chances, but you can see right here, you have more chances to win Zen Allocation Project backed by Binance and Google. I didn't even have a look into this yet, or at least to show you guys. So DeFi platform for credit unions and cooperatives. And what's interesting, and I'm just going to point this out, guys, is backed by Binance and Google Developers Launchpad. But the interesting thing is that they're actually using Binance Smart Chain. Now, Binance Chain, it had a lot of its critiques. People had a lot of stuff to say about it, but with these Ethereum gas fees and Binance Smart Chain being implemented right now with these extremely low fees, I'm seeing a lot of projects actually look into Binance as a solution, at least short term, until they can figure out this Ethereum gas stuff. So I would keep your eyes on this, guys. Definitely a project. They're coming out right now. And in case you're curious how this works, February 18th, they're doing the wallet sign-in deadline. And then later on in the day, they will announce the winner's tickets. So you don't actually have a lot of time to get involved in this. But that being said, guys, like I said, we have all eyes on Bitcoin right now. We have Bitcoin putting in higher highs and higher lows on the short-term time frame. We are looking to break above this 50K level. And like I said, it's going to be pretty crazy. We're looking at either hard rejection or massive blast off. And I'm talking like if we break through this, you could see us go to 52, 53, maybe even all the way to 55K before having the next significant pullback. And I do think that even though the altcoins may suffer in their Bitcoin comparatives, honestly think they're going to do all right as far as their dollar comparatives go. But we will keep our eyes on this Bitcoin dominance, and we will see if we end up breaking out of this downtrend or not. If we do, could be time to move into Bitcoin for a month or so, while the altcoins just... the altcoins did really well. They had their moment, but it's always a seesaw between Bitcoin and these other altcoins, right? So that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Let me know what you think. Are you worried about the 50K Bitcoin? Do you think altcoins will continue to surpass the Bitcoin, price action? Or, right now, do you think, which is what I kind of think, is that everybody's sort of looking at Bitcoin right now? All eyes are on Bitcoin. Yeah, CNBC actually mentioned that it broke past 50K. So yeah. That's basically it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Either way, I think the next 6 to 8 months are going to be amazing. Thank you so much. You guys rock. My name's K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.